When I was in my 20s, I was in a rush to accomplish everything I ever dreamed of in life by the age of 30 maximum. I'm talking about starting a business, making tons of cash, getting married, having a few kids, all of this before 30. But as time went on and I reached 25, 26, and those things weren't quite happening yet, I realized the power of time just passing by. Obviously not with you doing nothing, but with you taking some action here and there over time, it really contributes so much to what you can achieve, the size of what you can achieve in life. It's compounding. Time is the main ingredient that allows things to compound, right? That's why they say that when it comes to stock market investing, for example, time in the market, basically time doing the thing, time passing by while your money is in the market, it's invested, is more impactful in you making a return than timing the market, meaning trying to buy into the market, trying to invest at the ideal time. Time in the market is what you should focus on. Same with us as Muslim men. When we're trying to achieve a lot in life, we're ambitious, we have to acknowledge the power of time, of us just being alive and taking action for enough time. With time, you gain experience. You learn what you love, what you hate, what you're good at, what you're terrible at, what you need to work on. You get more skills, you learn more, you get experience in all areas of life. When you get married, you get more mature, you learn from marriage. So much happens just from time passing by and you getting those experiences. Especially in ages 20 to 30, it's just warming up before the real workout, before the actual match. That's what I truly believe. Now, of course, we do see some small amounts of people get massive success before they're 30. Some of these people are like 21 and they got a huge business and whatever, but that's not everything in life. And also, you've got to judge people's accomplishments by the long term, not by the short term. How many people won the lottery and then lost it all within a year? They wasted the money. They just weren't mentally ready for that success. So yes, it can happen before 30 and you should try to do that. But if you're older than 30, then it's not game over whatsoever. You've just been building up your skills and experience up until this point that you can really use now. But don't get me wrong, before 30, we want to build up some level of income. We want to get married in that age, ideally. We want to build up a good mindset in that foundation building stage of life from 20 to 30. Now, 30 to 40 is where you build that foundation, and now it's time to specialize. It's time to go all in on that thing that you've discovered that you're good at, or you can make the biggest impact in, or that you like the most. Whatever it is, that's what your time to specialize. And obviously on top of that, you want to keep the good habits going and build upon your good habits. When I say habits, I mean stuff like praying, doing your adhkar daily, memorizing Quran, working out, these good habits. But this time frame from 30 to 40 is also the time where you have, inshallah, be married and you'll have kids and you'll have to really carve out time for your own development. And it's very important that you actually prioritize that. Not above everything else, but you have to give it some level of priority for sure. Otherwise, it won't happen. And you will blame it on, some men get sour and bitter about this. They'll say, oh, I just can't do it because of my wife, because of their kids. Subconsciously, they're actually blaming their wife and kids, these great blessings that Allah has given them, for their lack of development. But no, you don't have to blame it on them. You can do both, but you have to be quite disciplined about it and have a system for how to carve out that time for your own development. You see, bro, I'm talking to you directly now. The world doesn't just need another father, another good husband. That's good, that's great, and that's the foundation of our ummah. But the world needs more than that, and you can contribute more than that. You see, Allah didn't give us these blessings and this comfortable life, this free time, or this a little bit of excess money or whatever it is, for us to then just spend it on more comfort. That's not what it's there for. We'll be asked about it, and the right answer to that question on Yawm al-Qiyamah is that I spent those extra things for you. I spent it for you. That's the right answer. The wrong answer is that, oh Allah, you gave me that extra money and I used it only on my extra comfort and desires. So yes, the world doesn't need you to just be a good father and husband. It needs that, but it also needs you to give Allah your focus, to make a change in the world. And the great thing is that I know a lot of you watching, you want that as well. You're ambitious. You want to be above average. You want to do something crazy. You want to build a huge business. You want to build a huge charity. You want to memorize a whole Quran and then teach it to your whole town's kids. You want to do these things, and inshallah you will. So that's 30 to 40. 40 plus is an interesting time, especially if you think that the golden age of your life is your 20s. It's a load of rubbish. 40 plus is when you've specialized in something and you can really reap the rewards. You can have the most impact at this time of your life because you've been specializing, you have so much experience. You also start to reap the rewards financially a lot of the time. It's only when you get into this age group where you actually earn the most money. You see, I believe your peak years are not in your 20s. They're not even in your 30s. I believe your peak years are in your 40s. And that's what I told myself when I was in my 20s and I felt like time was running away from me and I hadn't accomplished everything that I wanted to in my 20s. I realized the real impact stage of life is in your 40s. And it starts with the example of the Prophet ﷺ. You see, did the Prophet ﷺ have the peak of his life in his 20s? No. In his 30s? No. He was building a very solid foundation. He was building up a great reputation. He was getting married. He was having kids. He was doing these things. But he got revelation and he became a prophet at age 40 exactly. That's when he was given his real mission to change the entire world for the next thousands of years, who knows, at least 1400 years. He was given that mission at age 40, not at age 20. So if you think you have to have all your impact and all your accomplishments in your 20s and 30s, then you're thinking that you could kind of be at a rush, be ahead of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he got revelation at age 40, and it was at age 53 that he made hijrah to Medina. And that is when the state started, the battle started at age 53. Now, where do you see the biggest openings and conquests and big changes and impact of the Prophet ﷺ's time? It was before Hijrah that he was laying the foundations. He was receiving the revelation initially. He was spreading the words secretly, etc. in Mecca. But then it was once he did Hijrah to Medina when he had the hugest impact. When the battle started, the conquest of Mecca happened after that. Huge changes in the spread of Islam far and wide, where Islam became higher and more powerful. That was after the age of 53 when the Prophet ﷺ did Hijrah. At that time, Abu Bakr as well, he was in his 50s. Omar, he was in his 40s. This was the peak of their life. You see, when you think long term and you don't think that you must accomplish all your life goals in the next 1, 2, 3 years, you make better decisions. You see, in the last few years, when I was trying to build up and grow my business, I was making decisions based on making more money next month. Every month, I would be thinking, how can I make more money just next month? And then the month after that, and the month after that. I was thinking very short term. And the impact of that was negative. It was because I was trying to make all my money now, that I actually did something called overselling. When you try and sell to people too often, so often that they kind of lose trust from you, they don't want to buy from you, etc. And so selling today might make you more money today, but in a year's time, it actually takes money away from you. And this is the impact of thinking short term. That I want to grow my business every single month, my revenue must grow. Now, don't get me wrong, that is possible, but a lot of the times, the businesses that do that, they're just constantly growing. In 3 years' time, they might not even be around. Another example is investing in your skills to get a better job or a promotion or a higher position later in life. So you need to take a year out, for example, to do a master's degree, or you need to take a year out to do that plumbing course. Now, for that period where you're doing that course or that master's degree, you're losing income, right? You might not be working, or you might work part-time or whatever. But it's after that it's worth it, because now you've got a new skill that allows you to get different types of jobs. I was working with a client who was limited on the types of jobs he could do because he didn't have his driving license yet. He couldn't drive to jobs further away. So he invested time and money in getting his driving license, getting a car, so that then he could drive further out and get those jobs. Very simple example, but very real. So now when we apply this to the milestones in our life, we could think of our 20s as our time of really investing in learning, specifically learning what our direction in life could be. What are we? Are we more of a scientific type of person, an engineering kind of mindset? Or are we like a more mathematical type? Or are we more of a people person? These kind of directions in life. Are we more someone who loves the fiqh of things and the details and the technical stuff? Are we someone who loves more just like talking to people, giving dawah, just very personable person? The 20s is when you learn this. And you invest time in learning this so that in your 30s, you can invest time in specializing in the skills related to that direction. So that in your 40s plus, you can have the most impact. And so I believe the peak and the golden age of your life, if Allah gives you that time, is your 40s. And especially if you have kids earlier, like if you have kids in your 20s, even your late 20s, your kids will be about 10, 15 years old by the time you're 40. And when they're at that age, you don't have to spend so much time with them in a way, but also the time that you do spend with them, you can have a big impact on them. You can teach them, you can take them places, you can get them to work with you, etc., help you out and really build them up. And you can do all of this, of course, because you're still young at 40. Yes, you're still young at 40. Do not listen to anybody who's maybe 37, 38, and they start saying, oh, I'm getting old. You're not getting old. You're getting to the peak of your life, inshallah. Even physically, you could be ripped into your 40s. Now, it's not as easy as it in your 20s, but it's definitely possible, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So this whole I'm getting old thing and therefore lowering your standards and lowering your hopes and goals, that needs to be demolished completely. The Prophet ﷺ, he was youthful, he was energetic, he was optimistic about the future and always working towards it. According to some of these negative people, Abu Bakr was getting old when the hijrah had just started. So my advice when you're on the younger side is to invest in yourself in your 20s and obviously beyond that as well. Invest in your skills, your knowledge, your maturity, your experiences. Yes, get married, establish yourself, but think long term. Also, fight against this social expectation of certain financial milestones. Oh, I'm this age, therefore I should be making this money. Or, okay, first I'll get this job, then inshallah 5 years later I could get this promotion, then inshallah I could put a down payment for a house. No, we're not materialistic human beings. We don't just think about money and like little gadgets and stuff that we can buy. This stuff is pathetic. Instead, I challenge you to think in terms of impact. What skills can I learn now to have more impact? How can I have my kids earlier so I can have more impact on them while I'm still young? If I do want to buy a house or something like that, how will it help me have more impact? And yes, you can combine that with the reality of life, of finances and chores and stuff like that, but always think in terms of impact alongside those duties. So I'm going to try and earn more so that I can have this impact. I'm going to try to buy a house so I can have this impact. Always link it, and that's how you can combine the two. So bro, your life is not beginning to end in your 30s. Your life is beginning to begin. It's time to double down. It's time to specialize in that thing, that direction, that area, whatever it was that you love and that you're good at. Double down on it, become more skilled at it, do more of it. And even if you haven't found that direction yet, there's still plenty of time, as we discussed, to find that thing and then specialize and double down on it. One of the directions and things that I specialized in was digital marketing. But one thing I regret was that when I didn't have clients and I didn't have extra work to do, I would kind of take my foot off the pedal instead of practicing the skill more and more and more. You see, I've probably written hundreds of different ads in my life. But if I had written thousands, I would be better at it than I am today. So as you're in your 30s, don't think it's time to take your foot off the pedal. This is ridiculous, especially considering the average age of people living today is older and older and older. So you can have an impact in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, and even these days into your 60s, 70s, 80s if Allah gives you that life. So once you've found that direction, that area that you can contribute, you can have impact, then double down on it, specialize on it. Think about it from this point of view. Which direction do you want to contribute to? And which gate of Jannah kind of thing do you want to enter through? Oh, I want to enter Jannah through the gate of the Quran. I want to learn the Quran, teach the Quran, tafsir, memorize. Quran is my thing. Or someone else might say, I want to empower the Muslims to be more financially self-reliant. I'm all about business for the sake of Allah. Help the Ummah with business. I'm all about business and the contribution of Muslims getting stronger in the world. For other people, it might be all about tarbiyah. It might be that you do something like scouts, where you help kids, not just your kids, but other kids in your area to raise them upon Islam and the proper Islamic tarbiyah, upbringing, that will make them strong, confident Muslims who know about their deen, who have a backbone, and who are strong people. These are just some areas, but the point is that you need to experiment and try different things until you find what works for you, what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what your skills allow you to accomplish it. And also, don't neglect your health in your 30s. You can be ripped in your 40s, but it's much harder if you're not on top of it in your 30s. And finally, bro, stop comparing yourself to these losers on Instagram. Honestly, a lot of them are just showing one side of their lives. Some of them, they might be very wealthy, but they're only wealthy for a few years before they fall off. Some of them actually are very wealthy for a long term, but they're actually very lonely and they just can't find the right woman to be with. Everybody has their tests and trials in life. What you have to do is ignore them and focus on your area, your contribution, and your meeting with Allah. Now, to do this, there is a reality to it, that you will have to tell your wife, look, this is my development time. This is my legacy time. You will need to tell her no for a few hours of the week. Very doable. And if she's a good woman, she will love that actually. The next few years, bro, are yours to take action in and to shape the future of your life. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, that I've developed myself in. How to help Muslim men become action takers, become high performers, become leaders in our ummah, in any of those areas that I've mentioned and more. So if that's something interesting to you, then look below in the description and you will find a couple of links. I've got a full guide on how to become an action taker. I've also got an explanation of my Brotherhood Action Protocol system. Whatever's interesting to you, go check it out. And remember, your life is just starting in your 30s.